Hi, and welcome to Compelling Conversations where law meets business. I'm Dara Rosenbaum, a founding partner and attorney at Rosenbaum and Taylor in New York. My own journey has shown me the power of learning from others, whether from their successes or from their failures, and that's what led me to start this show. In each episode, my goal is to have a compelling conversation with a business leader, business owner, or other inspiring person who will share with you their experiences, their advice, and their perspective. I hope you'll learn from them just as I'm sure I will. You can find this show on YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and more. Today, I am thrilled to welcome Linda Rey. Linda Rey craves hearing about and celebrating business success stories. Her career spans over 30 years in the insurance field, and as a previous insurance agency owner, she managed the commercial lines department, the new business development, agency branding, and networking. Her professional experience includes, in no particular order, sales, marketing, and branding strategies, insurance underwriting, implementing management concepts, and personal development. In 2017, Linda exited the insurance business and with her partner Trevor, launched Aurora Consulting, a commercial financing brokerage to help entrepreneurs expand their enterprise with unique, cost-effective business financing solutions. When the pandemic hit, the business shut down in early spring of 2020 as lenders scrambled with the Paycheck Protection Program, also known as PPP. As true entrepreneurs always do, Linda and Trevor pivoted and sought to help business owners learn the fundamentals about business financing and how to apply for the SBA's Economic Injury Disaster Loan, or EIDL or EIDL. They had enough experience with how to apply for business loans, so their knowledge helped enlighten business owners who were navigating that very confusing EIDL process. Aurora Consulting developed a national reputation assisting business owners all over the country and helped to secure over $60 million in disaster funding for small business owners and counting to thrive beyond COVID. You can find Linda and Trevor on YouTube, where they try to have fun talking about an otherwise dry topic that if it weren't for the props they introduced during their show, they might even struggle to stay awake. You can find them at youtube.com/Linda Rey, R-E-Y, and Trevor, A-N-D, Trevor. They're winding down their EIDL practice and will endeavor toward a new enterprise that has absolutely nothing to do with financial services. So we're all going to stay tuned for that. Linda and Trevor live in Roxbury, Connecticut, and they don't have any pets, but they do marvel at all that wildlife that strolls and saunters through the backyard, including bobcats and bears. So Linda, obviously from the wilds of business to the wilds of your backyard, you've seen it all.
Seen it all, baby.
So Linda, what I love about who you are and what you do is that we have a lot of overlap in terms of, what we do and who we do it for. What drives you?
Wow. Wait, was that the question you said you were going to lead with? Because
No, I didn't tell you what question I was going to lead with. We have no script here, Linda.
Okay. So what drives me is, I think, constant learning and problem solving and developing problem solving skills, because I've seen too often in all of my years where it's very easy to get lost and overwhelmed and intimidated, and then you get stuck, and then you just manage status quo. And to me, that was, that wasn't going to get me anywhere. And it just seemed a little bit boring to do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. So it was like, all right, how can we conquer new frontiers with all the things that it takes to run a business and all the things it takes to own a business and to manage a business? And it's nuts, and it's a work in progress, right? So it's constantly, you're constantly having to learn. And so one of the things scientifically, I don't know if you know this, that the brain is stimulated by learning. I mean, food and sex too, but learning. No, that's true. The three things: food, sex, and learning. It's kind of a weird thing, but I'm sure it's on the internet somewhere, because I didn't make that up. So so learning and just excelling and growing. And I guess mistakes are overrated, or that they're bad, when it's a way to learn. So
how did you learn to do what you do? I mean, obviously you're in a lot of different areas. You're functioning in a lot of different areas of business. How did you learn to do what you do?
You mean the insurance bit or the financing bit?
Well, the financing bit and sort of the business creativity and the business support.
Um, well, let's see. I don't know because
Okay.
I think it just, you know, one of the things about business is you don't have a business if you don't have clients. If you don't have people paying you for what you do or your products and your services, there is no business. So the hardest part is people think when you start a business, oh, I love doing this or that. I love, arranging flowers or, name something, a craft or a service or a product. But the problem is if nobody knows about you, how are you going to make any money? And if you're
Mhm.
not making money, how are you going to own a business? So
Right.
I think I've always just, my whole thing about owning a business is how can I let people know who I am and what I'm doing?
Mhm.
And that's where the networking IRL, which is really, networking 1.0, and
Right.
then the social media, it was the 2.0 of
Mhm.
how to reach, how to have the discoverability and the reach of finding new people and people finding you.
Mhm.
So it was all about social media in 2009 when I launched into it. That just kind of blew things wide open for me because you didn't have to get in your car and drive somewhere to meet someone, to
Mhm.
shake their hand, talk to them, and then move on to the next person. You could be in your pajamas at 6 a.m. and create stuff that hopefully if you have a little bit of creativity or if you know to call someone who knows how to do that type of
Mhm.
stuff, that you can the world is a vast place that just got much smaller because of social media. And so that's the learning, oh, social media, what is that, how does that work? Okay, let's get into it, let's
Mhm.
delve in, let's explore, and we were off to the races.
I
So
love it. I love it. And I think I talk to new entrepreneurs all the time or, kind of aspiring business owners who have something they love to do, something they do really well, and they want to turn it from, either a side hustle or a hobby into a business. And, I always tell them that the exciting
mm,
part is deciding what you want to do. You have to go through some of the framework things and some of the legal things and business aspects that are not the creating the service or creating the product. It's,
yes,
it's sort of the running the business aspect.
yes, it's excruciating. I mean, let's just be
Well,
real, right?
I don't think it has to be. I think it's
It
just
doesn't have to be, but if you see, this is the thing. I think this is great that we're maybe disagreeing a little bit
Mhm.
because I think the thing is though, you have to, before you know the thing you want to sell or the thing you want to do,
Yeah.
you have to know what you're good at and really what you're bad at and just own it.
Mhm.
So that okay, I don't know how to do social media. I'm going to outsource that.
Mhm.
Or I don't know how to do taxes. So I'm going to hone up on how I interview to, hire a CPA and a
Mhm.
good CPA to know what that is. If I need a lawyer, do I get a business lawyer? Do I get my uncle's kid who just graduated, but he's
No, that's
specializing in.
not what I recommend.
Right. So, but see, that those are the decisions that someone has to make to even know how to go about the things you don't like to do or
Mhm.
the things you're not good at.
Right. And I think sometimes it's the things you're not good at or the things you just don't know yet.
Right.
Things that you're willing to learn. And yeah, there's definitely a line between like you're not going to be, if without a degree, you're not going to become your own lawyer or your own tax professional, but you
Right.
can be your own social media marketer. I mean,
Oh,
and you can learn. And it's one of the things I talk about all the time is, finding the people who have done it before you,
mhm.
doing it better than you do, and learn from them. Because so many, none of us are doing things for the very, very first time in the world. Some of us
Right.
before.
Well, I think that's the point of when you know that you're good at something and you love to do it, even if it's not the thing that makes you money,
Mhm.
if it's something that has to be done anyway, but you're really good at it,
Right.
then embrace that and run with it. That's with me, the marketing. I mean, I could have hired someone to do all
Mhm.
of that, but that was my outlet. That was my right brain screaming to have something to do besides underwrite insurance
Mhm.
policies.
Exactly.
So I loved it. I loved it. And then, and then it even came to the point where I was like, I don't even want to do insurance anymore because I love doing the marketing. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah.
And for me, I mean, doing the marketing and the branding and the, the sales and the networking was not something that was, taught at law school, and not something that was necessarily on my list as a business owner, but it's something that I love doing.
Right.
Meeting people and connecting people, and helping clients of mine find that tax professional, or find that fractional HR or the fractional CFO who can help them run their
Right.
business, because they, like, for the most part, they want to focus on whatever the product or services they want to do. They
Exactly.
don't want
And
to be
that's
worried about, their insurance policy, and they want to talk to somebody, like your former profession. They
right.
want to talk to a lawyer like me, or they want to talk to, somebody who knows more.
Exactly.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
just so much that goes into a business. It's
Mhm.
yeah, it's
So like
exciting.
when clients or prospective clients approach you, what's your approach for sort of, either diagnosing what they need or helping them understand what you can do for them?
Well, this question is tough only because in the capacity that we're working now
Mhm,
and winding down the EIDL,
mhm,
we working with business owners around the country, we're kind of working with the SBA,
mhm.
and without getting into anything stressful
Right.
about working with the SBA.
Yeah.
It's a tough go. It's a
Mhm,
government agency. They cap your fee. You're up against other people committing fraud in trying to exercise as a consultant, or you know they're going about it. A lot of people who have come to us were swindled out of money because they went the person who was trying to sell this service, they didn't, they were it was based on a commission, and they were guaranteeing things, and that it's just there's none of that. So because they cap our fee, we had to completely streamline our onboarding process to
mhm,
make it basically online,
mhm,
limited access to us by phone. It was anti counter everything I'm used to with the relationship building that it takes
mhm,
to build a clientele.
mhm,
But our our net niche is kind of unique because it came to a point after 500 loans and speaking to thousands of business owners around the country and having a YouTube channel that has been pretty active. We've seen it all with the mistakes on both sides, the SBA
mhm.
making the mistake and the business owners making the mistake.
Sure.
So, we people would say, "Oh, my situation is unique." No, it's not. It's
Right.
not. And so we'd have to let them down easy that it's not. So our onboarding is just way different. We have a lot of forms, a lot of everything's online. You have to fill stuff out. So eligibility, so we know your situation. And there's a lot of just like with you when you have a client, there's nuances and dynamics of their scenario that you need, there are rapid fire questions you can ask to get the lay of the land as a basic
Right. And
foundation.
it sounds like you standardized that just by doing it
We
online
did. It
and made it
systematized it.
easier. Yeah.
Everything was systematized, which by the way is of an just by itself a superb basic fundamental of how a business owner should really kind of gather their wares on how they then have their onboarding.
Mhm,
Even with product development and product sales, you have to have a standard onboarding of how it's going to work.
mhm.
So we did that, and we did it really well. And some people didn't like it, and so then you have that aspect. So, but what are you
Listen,
gonna
I
do?
think and to me, it's much more efficient. I mean, I've created a checklist that I,
Hmm.
give out for free for people. Whether you're working with me or somebody else, there are things that you want to know before you come in to speak to an attorney.
Right,
And, it to me, it makes it a much more efficient process. I mean, if you're paying hourly, you don't want to spend time thinking about what information you should have gathered.
right. I
Had
mean,
clients come and say, "Hey, I want to start a business." Well, what's it going to be called?
mhm.
Not sure yet. Okay, where is it gonna be located? Haven't really figured that out. Is it gonna be you
Mm,
or partners? I mean, you wanna think about to me, you wanna think about kind of whether it's, it's financial assistance, or it's, it's law, or it's accounting. You wanna know what set of information you have to go to the professional with, just to make that relationship much more efficient. And there's obviously always nuances and details that you're gonna learn in the conversation, but you
mhm.
don't wanna have to start, in the first conversation giving somebody a list of homework to do when they can do
Right.
it beforehand.
Well, it's it's not like you're okay. So the low battery, we knew about this, right? So we knew about this about the low battery, but
Mhm.
so one of the things, this is not, you're going to a family dinner so to talk about like, oh, this would be good. Like, this is not, when you're dealing with a business owner who knows how to set you up, you don't want to waste their time with the emotional aspect of the possibility of how this could maybe look for you. You as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you have to have that. You have to understand that you're going to treat the professional who's trying to help you with respect, because are you hearing the feedback?
No,
Oh, okay, good. Because then it's only me hearing the feedback.
no.
Yeah. So anyway, you have to have the checklist. You have to streamline it. And if people are put off by your, I don't, this is, let's get to the nuts and bolts, the meat and potatoes
Mhm.
of it,
Mhm.
then they're not ready because they're too emotional.
Well, I think I mean, honestly, sometimes I think our role as professionals is to do some of that hand holding and to do some of and I have plenty of clients who are, personally invested in and very emotional about
Mhm.
what they're dealing with. And, my job is to listen to it and to understand it and understand what's driving them toward a particular result, but then also to say, like, okay, let's refocus on the things that are objective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, yes, there's going to be phases of the working relationship, of the business relationship,
Mhm.
that has different parts of it. But if, like your example was, if the person doesn't know where they're going to be located or how their formation is going to be
Mhm.
structured,
Right.
then, it's like you don't really want to spend too much time with them until they do their own research and due diligence.
Well, and I think that that's just an efficiency. I don't want to waste their time. I don't
Yeah.
want to, I don't want to spend excessive time on something that they can be doing, on their own and deciding what things they need to do. And then I love when they come to me with, I was thinking about this, or,
Yeah.
what structure should I use? Should I be an S corp? Should I be an LLC? Should I be in New York? Should I be in New Jersey? Those are all things we talk about, but at least,
Yes.
come to me with, this is, I'd like to use this name if it's available. This is the domain I'd like if it's available. So just
Yes.
some idea of kind of
Right.
what it's going to look like.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely,
Exactly.
definitely.
So
So go ahead.
I'm really sorry that my tech has been such an issue so the whole time, because the whole battery and now the syncing and the Chrome and the StreamYard and the mic. I'm really, really sorry, because this is going to be your shortest podcast since I'm running out of a battery.
That's
Ah,
okay. How much battery do we have left is my
let me
question.
see. I've got 10%. So we've
Okay,
done
so we'll just
half.
we'll just keep going a little bit, and when we're done, when the universe tells us we're done, we're done.
We're done. We're done. There we go. That
So, I mean, can you give us a little hint about what's next for you and Trevor?
I can. I can. It's not going to be exciting for anybody else but us at this point, but Trevor's a musician. He's a
Mhm,
professional musician for over 40 years. He's also
mhm.
a writer and has various works in progress.
Okay.
And so he's going to finally live his dream of finishing recording his original songs and writing and finalizing to publish his books.
Wonderful.
And I'm going to be helping with that. In my marketing career, I've never been involved with self publishing or books or music,
Mhm.
but I've had some various success stories of my marketing endeavors. So I'm just going to play it by ear, and we're going to have some fun. And, we've done pretty well for the two of us the last 7 years
Mhm.
working together and living together
Mhm.
and not going to jail.
Right, okay, or killing each other.
Right. So yeah, so it's going to be where he's going to be doing his dream, and no more financial services. um we do also have a client who's in Connecticut who owns a restaurant group, and we've been their outsourced CFO. So that's really the only little toe in the water that we're keeping as far as our business and financing acumen
Mhm.
for that one client. Yeah.
And in terms of the marketing, is Trevor gonna be your only client for this next phase?
Pretty much. I hope
Okay.
so. I hope so. If we can, we saved enough money to know how 3 to 5 years is your, is the the startup where you're making nothing and you're
Mhm.
working 12, 17 hours a day.
Right.
But we're prepared for that. We've been preparing for that for the last 2 years, last
Mhm.
3 years, really. And we'll see where it goes. We'll
Okay.
see where it goes. Yeah.
But I think Linda, your story is really like so many people where it's
Yeah.
just keep pivoting to whether it's from financial services toward, economic disaster loans and SBA loans,
Yeah.
or it's from insurance into, marketing your own business. To me, it's just the heart of an entrepreneur.
I thank you. I as a Gen Xer and the generation before me,
Hmm.
it was the 35 years and the gold watch and
Hmm.
like if you moved around a lot, what was going on? What was happening that you couldn't stay in one job or you
Right.
couldn't keep. And when I exited the insurance business, and I did start with insurance marketing and insurance marketing consulting and so on, I realized it's really about maximizing and leveraging all your skills and gifts on
Hmm.
how you can make some money, because that's really, besides being happy about what you're doing in the existence of
Hmm.
your life, because we only get one shot at this.
Hmm.
You do have to pay bills, right?
Right.
And if you're going to make money and try to enjoy it, you might as well really kind of dig deep inside of yourself and reflect upon what makes you happy and what do you like to do and what are you good at that you could then leverage. And I think with the pandemic, that was one of the things that a lot of people learned if they got downsized. And then, the constant, all the not resurgence because it's been around, but online courses, the
Hmm.
business owners who had knowledge and expertise, they they created a product from
Hmm.
that. And so, I mean, I did it. I did an Instagram course for insurance brokers,
Hmm.
and we did a for our EIDL for people because we knew we were going to wind down. We created an entire roadmap. So our process, methods, strategies, tactics, and techniques, we documented it and we put it into a product to sell.
Hmm.
And so, just keep
I mean,
moving, moving
I always
forward.
encourage, yeah.
Yeah.
I always encourage entrepreneurs and small business owners and clients of mine to not think so narrowly about what your skill set is. And
Right.
if it's something that you're interested in doing, I had another guest who was talking about, she started a home-based online business coaching stepmoms. And she said, you don't have to
Oh,
do everything. You don't have to know everything all at once. Learn something that you need and then learn the next thing and then learn the next piece. And I think that, people who have kind of that entrepreneurial spirit really just thrive on that. So
yeah.
I encourage people not to think so narrowly about like, I take pictures or I create art or I provide consulting services or therapy services, or I have a plumbing company. Like, well, if you're a plumbing company and you really, that right brain is itchy, and you're going like, well, I'd like to get involved in my marketing campaign. I'd like to get on social media. I'd like to do some videos. I mean, I'm all for that stuff because it really just, it kind of, rounds you out and scratches all those itches.
Well, the possibilities are endless too.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, this is so corny. I got excited. So when we published our roadmap for the EIDL reconsideration,
Mhm.
Trevor thought I was crazy. I extracted bits of the roadmap and I created a blueprint series of the different bits of the process, different
Mhm.
pieces of the puzzle for if someone is having trouble with 2202 or 4506T or 3501. You could just buy that instead of buying the whole roadmap. He was like, "What are
Mhm.
you nuts?" And I was like, "It doesn't matter if it helps someone. That's what matters is that we're
Right.
helping people when they're struggling in the moment. So, but yeah, so we made money from that too. So
Yeah. But it's a nice thing to be able to do to say, we're exiting this, but we still want to be people to have the information and the knowledge that we've gained through this whole process. It's nice to be able to provide that. And then people can either work it through on their own or find another consultant or work with their accountant or however they do it. But
yeah.
at least they have those tools that you've made because those shouldn't go to waste.
Well, even so, people can't really they can't hire us anymore, and they
Right.
ask, "Well, who else do you know?" I said, I'm not trying to be coy, but we really don't know who does what we do. But if you do hire somebody, watch this video first so you don't get swindled,
Mm-hmm.
because, that's happening. That's happened. So,
Yeah. So that's a great public service to let people know what criteria they should look for in somebody they're going to consult with.
yeah, I agree.
You can't, you're not doing it anymore and you couldn't do it for everybody, but at least you can help people find their own.
All right. So we have 8%. Actually, it's moving pretty good for,
okay. I've never been so mindful of a battery before. I like that.
I know. My God, me neither. I'm so sorry. I feel terrible, but
no.
It's April Fool's. Like, you would think this is a joke, but it's not. I'm really challenged today.
We talked about adaptability. We talked about, kind of, moving with the flow. That's what we're doing.
Good. Excellent.
Absolutely. So that's what's next for you. You're moving into kind of a passion project with Trevor. That sounds great.
Passion project. I love that. Yes. Yeah. And we shall see how it will go. It's a complete departure from the purview that we've been, that we've had for all these decades between the two of us, over 60 years. So,
but it's still, to me, it's going to tap into the branding and the sales and the marketing that you've already been doing.
Yeah. It's one thing that I don't want to, hurt myself, patting myself on the back, but, with the boring topics of insurance and financing, and Trevor was a mortgage lender, mm-hmm. To be able to kind of have some fun with it and be creative and make people laugh every now and again. That is hopeful for us, that we can do this with stuff that's going to be more fun. So
that's wonderful. Well, how will people be able to find Trevor's music? Is that something that you have a website set up for? You're going to have a website set up for?
Yeah, we're going to have a website for him that isn't developed yet. He has a dormant YouTube channel at, I don't even know if it's Trevor Anthony Band or if we changed it to the Trevor Method. All these things are still kind of in its infancy, as far as we've had no time. All we're doing is processing files to get these clients approved for their funding, and so that they can survive with the money they need. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I will ask you the question that I told you I was going to ask.
Yes, because I am ready.
Okay, terrific. Which is, what is
I shouldn't tell people I'm ready. I have no idea what you're going to ask me.
Okay, so Linda, if you need to take a minute and think about this, just as long as your battery doesn't run out, we have time.
Okay.
So what is one thing that you've learned along the way that you wish you'd known earlier?
All right. So this is actually twofold. So I'm glad we're doing this now, because if you'll indulge me, it's a two-part, because one thing I did learn was in my very, very early 30s. My father, actually, when I was back in business with my father, and he had been doing insurance for decades, and I was like, "Hey, Dad, what does this mean? What do they want? How do I do this?" Blah, 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 blah. And he was like, "Figure it out." I go, "What? Wait, what? No, you've been doing this. You certainly must know, right? Mm-hmm. That you can tell me and just answer the question. And how do I go about this?" He goes, "Well, you'll have to call somebody. I don't know. I was like, "What?" And so figuring it out was a huge lesson for me for the last couple of decades, of the learning and the exploring and the not taking shortcuts to do the research and due diligence. So figure it out before expecting someone to just answer the question. It's sort of like the fish, like, instead of giving the fish, you teach how to fish. Okay, there's that.
Sure.
The other part that I did not learn until not that long ago was to really trust yourself and respect your boundaries of knowing who is your advocate and who is your adversary. And there's a bit also that is, especially these last several years, understanding a toxic relationship, understanding when someone is abusing you or is taking advantage of you, and you're thinking, well, this is just normal, or that this is how it goes in business, or this is how it works because I don't know enough, or I haven't learned enough, or I haven't been around enough, or I haven't been involved enough
Mhm.
to respect your boundaries, respect your person before someone, there's a lot of gaslighting and nonsense that is taking place in the workplace that is tolerated because people, it's narcissism it's not curable. There's no, you can't take a pill for it to calm yourself down. So you have to learn for yourself
Mhm.
how to see the signs and have the flags waving and not to ignore them.
Mhm.
Make sure that they're red flags and not pink flags because it's like, well, maybe this is normal or it'll change. So trust yourself and respect your boundaries.
And I think that the other, so the red flags, obviously the converse is the green flags, which is, recognize when there's somebody there who can help you or is willing to help
Hmm.
you or will mentor you or has resources for you. And also look for those hidden gems of like people who, may have something to offer, but may not be the loudest voice in the room and may not be the person who's reaching out for a connection, but would just love one if you made it.
I love that because it's definitely a more positive spin on it than
Well,
what I
it's the other
just
side.
said.
It's plenty of red flags, but I think that if you look for them, there's lots of green ones too.
Yeah, I think the thing is, doing the self-reflection and really taking time to to just, like, feel in your body when things are not good and
Mhm.
to if you're feeling stressed and anxious over something that doesn't make sense, I
Mhm.
guarantee you're probably on the money with it doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
So, you need to, like, kinda respect that, and
Okay. So we'll
yeah.
go with it. So it's actually threefold. It's actually trust your gut sounds like the third one.
Yeah, yeah, I
I like
think
that
so.
a lot.
I wish I had learned that not in my early 50s.
Got it, got it. Well, Linda, I am so glad your battery held out, and I
I
really
know.
appreciate this conversation. This has been very interesting, and I've always found you to have a wonderfully interesting background, and looking forward to seeing what you and Trevor do next.
Thank you, Dara. It's been so nice to see you, and
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry for all the tech
No,
issues,
no
but we
worries.
made
You
it.
made
We
it
made
through.
it with 6% to spare.
Here we go. Thank you so much, Linda.
Take care.